For years now, the logging companies have been devastating the jungles of Southeast Asia. Here in Borneo, the jungles which barely 30 years ago covered 90% of the territory were so extraordinary that the island is one of the greatest bastions of land biodiversity. Today, however, they have been cut down and burnt on such a scale that Borneo has now lost that status. The destruction of the jungles also meant the destruction of their species, many of them endemic and threatened. Once again, the dependency among them reveals the danger of destroying the fabric on which life is based. For the orangutans, whose diet includes over 400 different types of fruits, leaves, flowers and barks, the loss of the jungle meant they were left without food and therefore were condemned to rapid extinction. But fortunately for the jungle and for the orangutans, these large simians have attracted the admiration and sympathy of the public, and they are now the most visible image of conservationism in Borneo, the last hope for its threatened jungles. Everything began when Barbara Harrison from the Sarawak Museum had the idea of rescuing the orphaned orangutans captured by the logging companies and teaching them to fend for themselves in the wild. The task was not easy because the orangutans have a very long childhood, during which they depend entirely on their mothers, who teach them not only what to eat, but also how to obtain and prepare their food. This, however, did not discourage Barbara Harrison. After 50 years of work, her initiative has given rise to the Sepilok Orangutan Rehabilitation Center. The work of the center is bringing results which go further than the reintroduction of the orangutans, because from here they are starting to make citizens and governments aware of the need to conserve the last jungles of Borneo. And the key, once again, is that people come here, attracted by these expressive primates that remind us so much of our own species. The tourists that come to Sepilok are changing the way of thinking of the local people. The visitors not only leave money but also demonstrate the admiration and the interest the natural heritage of the island arouses around the world. The logging companies that caused the fires that have devastated the jungles of Borneo have been left without the support of the governments of the island, who are starting to hand over the concessions to NGOs willing to pay in order to conserve. These NGOs demonstrate that conservation can be profitable and open the eyes of politicians and local people who are starting to see the jungles as a form of life insurance. As deforestation is reduced, some species that seemed condemned to extinction are once again given hope for the future. Animals like this Sumatran rhinoceros, the oldest and most threatened of the 5 species of rhinoceros in the world, have very slowly started to increase in number. And as they see that the jungles have a tangible value, the local people who previously burned the ground in order to obtain a couple of poor harvests now participate in the reforestation of the devastated lands. These are the plantations of new jungles. Jungles that will be possible to rationally exploit, bringing profit to the people that live in them, local people who will protect them and care for them for what they are, their greatest asset. And little by little, the miracle seems to be becoming a reality, and new jungles are starting to be planted where for generations they had been cut down and burned.